So therefore remember that a person who will come into your life, who will find you when you are seeking, will have this great characteristic of having unconditional love and compassion and be ordinary. What characteristics can we find in such a person? Well, some are obvious, that he must be full of love and compassion. Second is, if he is truly in touch with the Lord, he cannot say these are my people and these are not, because all the people are Lord's. His message must be universal for the whole world. All the world must be his children, not a few. He cannot distinguish between them based upon the color of the skin, or the language they speak, or the dress they wear, or where they come from, or their religious beliefs, or so on. He will not come to convince them of religious beliefs. He will not convince them of what dress to wear. He will not tell them what language to speak. He said, do what you like, but go within and find the truth. That's where I found it. Such a person, if he is really so universal, is in touch with the Creator, he'll come here and be in touch with the whole of creation equally. Therefore, he will respect the creation. He will respect every living thing in this creation and not say, let's kill this and keep the other alive. Another good sign. If a person is truly in touch with the Lord, he will come to give us something, not take anything from us. If he is a beggar asking us for money and donations and these things, how can he be a person in touch with the Lord? He has come to give, not to take. So remember, all the mystics, they need not have woven their thread and worked on the shoes when they could get millions of dollars from their disciples. They worked hard on their vocations. They set an example to us. They have been farmers. They have been carpenters. They have been cobblers. They are well known. And their disciples were rich and famous. But they still kept on doing that work to set an example that we should work with our own hands, not live on the charity of another, because it only adds up to our debt to build up charity from another. Therefore, such a person will be a giver, not a taker. He will work with his hands, he'll work with his head, he'll work, take his own income, share that with the others, then still keep on working. Of course, if he wants to take care of the people who come to him for logistical reasons, they bring the food, he'll say distribute it and eat it. They bring the money, use it for yourself. Not for me personally, but for yourself, sure. If I have to serve you, such a master will say, I don't mind going begging around the world and collect what I need to serve you. But for myself, I will not touch even a tumbler of water. I'll burn myself. Such is the nature of these people. By the very fact that they are in touch with the Spirit, they become so. Secondly, when they come here, their miracles will be performed in our hearts. Their life will be so ordinary that when they perform an obvious miracle, like telling us exactly what we were thinking, when we go to them, he said, Master, you did a great thing. This is exactly what I was thinking. He said, what were you thinking? This is the beauty. There's a great beauty and joy in this kind of a relationship. In fact, if you ask me, there is no true friendship, no enjoyable friendship in this whole world except the friendship of a master. That's so beautiful. Because it is not only here outside, it is inside too. It lasts beyond our bodies. Therefore, it's a great friendship. So when such a person comes, he will have these characteristics. And since he has put on himself the incognito of being ordinary and being so extraordinary within, he does not have to say at any time, I am a master. He doesn't have to say, I am great. If he is great, he won't have to say. If he is not great, he has to tell you, look, I am great. Do you believe it? If he is great, he says, I am humble, I am nobody. I am nobody. I am just a little fellow who wants to be your friend. I am the woodcutter in the forest. He will not say, I am the king, because it doesn't make any sense to say, I am the king. His humility will be exceptional. I'll tell you the exception of that humility. Our humility is made from our tongue. I am humble. He knows That this humility itself is ego. You find, what is the ego? Ego is a great wall between us and the Lord. Ego is what separates us. We think we are separate from the Lord. Therefore, we build this wall of ego. When a person says, I am very humble, I am very small, he knows people like this. I must be really great that I can be so humble. That's a very subtle ego. If a man comes and says, I am very great, you can pull his leg and throw it. Where's your greatness? We can destroy that kind of ego in a minute. But when a man comes and says, I am nobody, I am very humble, I am very this thing, please, I am your servant. Look into his eyes, he's thinking, boy, that's great to be that humble. It's a very subtle ego. But it blocks you from the Lord the same anyway. Because it separates you. When a person says, I am humble, the I becomes more important than the Lord. The ego is not humble or great. Ego is I. I am separate. The truth is we are never separate from the Lord. The truth is we are not conscious because we are individual. The truth is we are conscious because we are sharing the consciousness of the Lord at all times, which has never been separated and never divided. We are participating in that consciousness. We are not separated, but thinking we are separated gives rise to our ego. Therefore, to be able to say, I am very humble is not a demolition of ego. The way to demolish ego is to talk of nothing but the Master. Talk of nothing but the Lord. He is the doer. He is the doer. Everything is done by Him. Don't bring I into it at all. If you can live a life of that kind, of praising the Lord all the time and not bringing I into it at all, then you are truly humble. Therefore, a loud statement praising the Lord, Lord, I've done a great thing, is not an act of arrogance, it's an act of humility. On the other hand, if you're talking about I and self and what you did, it's an act of arrogance, even if you're talking of your humility and your spiritual prowess. Therefore, remember that these signs that you will see in a perfect living Master, the compassion, the way He finds you, we call it all these things, we sum up and we say in a little phrase, the grace of the Lord. What do we come to the conclusion? It's all right to know, have all this knowledge that I've shared with you. It's all right to understand all these things. It's all right to listen to this. Most people listen for 1 year and then go out. We are like the same man who accompanied Kabir. We are fine when we listen to all this. We are high. And we are willing to sing the praise and go out and forget, and then we deal with the real world outside. The truth is, unless there is the grace of the Lord, we get nothing. The truth is, unless there is grace of the Lord, we don't even seek Him. The truth is that seekers are there. And therefore, it's the grace that's given us. If we ever have to pray for anything, don't pray for things. They won't last. Don't pray for relationships. They are unreal. Don't pray for any worldly thing. It's unreal. Pray for the grace of the Lord. Thank you very much for giving me the chance to